Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Axis and Allies 1942 Online, a digital adaptation of the board game Axis and Allies 1942. The digital adaptation is done by a studio called Breamdog, and this is part 5 of our first look at this game. It is currently in early access on Steam, so the game is not yet done. It does have some bugs. The multiplayer definitely needs some optimization work that's done. But overall, we've been playing through the series against the AI, and things have been going reasonably well for us, I think. We just failed in our attack on Moscow. We lost massive numbers of troops, but the Soviets lost so many that I have a firm belief that they will have a hard time replacing all of their losses. Meanwhile, the British have lost India, China's gone, Eastern Russia's in Japanese hands, the American fleet is gone, North Africa is kind of up in the air, but really what this game is going to come down to is how aggressively the American AI tries to counterattack in Western Europe, or if they sit pat and just kind of stand pat and just kind of sit back, then all we have to do is take Moscow, we'll take that 10th victory city, and we will win the war. But we'll see what happens in this video. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to myself. This was taken from a live stream from a couple of days ago, so there's a little bit of chatting back and forth with the audience, but for the most part, this is a gameplay video where I'm really just interacting with the game and talking about it as I'm playing through it. Hope you guys enjoy. Leave your thoughts below, and I will go ahead and step aside for my real live timey self and catch you guys on the flip side. They can actually take the province because they lost their infantry unit, which is kind of funny. All right, victory is near. Take one more city and hold it through the end of the turn. So the Soviets didn't actually counterattack. Maybe they realized they're still weak. The Germans and Egypt are destroyed. Egypt apparently is not a victory city. So, but they are gearing up for an invasion of France by the looks of it. So I think what we want to do, I want 4 infantry units to place in France and 2 in Italy, just to ensure we're safe there. Then we're going to build armor for the attack. I think we have enough air units here, so we're going to build armor and attack there. Industry, and I guess I don't have to repair anything. So 6 infantry and 6 armor. For the combat move phase, I don't actually think we're going to attack Moscow this turn. They did spend... See, the thing is, Russia's not making much money. They get 8 from Russia, they get 1 from Novorossiysk, and then they get 1 for Evgeny National Okrug. So they've actually lost the majority of their income. Now, I don't have any ground units anyway that border Russia anyway, so I can't even attack even if I want to. I can attack here. I can attack into Algeria. I could launch some bombing raids against the British fleet. That would potentially lessen my ability to... This could backfire as it will restrict my ability to hit Moscow, but I do want to try and preempt the Allied invasion if I can. So we'll do that. They could go for Norway too. That's an option. All right, so we'll end the attack phase for the Germans. That's all we're going to be doing. So this is a pretty important battle off the coast of the British Isles. We're going to try and wipe out the Royal Navy again. He's releasing his... Wait, Tortuga is Tortuga streaming right now, J Street, or is he just showing a video? Because if it's video on demand, you can watch it anytime. All right, so good job, guys. Roll a 6. That's just what I wanted you to do. But hey, the bombers did their job. They just wiped out the British Navy. All right, so just a matter of how many hits we take. Looks like these 2 destroyers didn't hit. They didn't. And the cruiser did hit with 1. So I'll take the hit on the bomber because the fighters are useful in defense. And there you go. We just wiped out the British Navy off the coast of the British Isles. And that will hinder landing efforts against us in France. Not completely prevent it, because the Americans still have 2 transports off the coast. But I'll take those results. Non-combatant move phases. All right, so we need these bombers to land. And the bombers are going to land, I think, in Ukraine. That should be out of the range of... Where's this fighter going to land? Fighter will land in Poland. And then these bombers will land in Poland too. All right, so everything will still be in range of Russia for the next turn. Meanwhile, these 3 infantry and 2 artillery are going to move forward to Russia as well, so that we're prepared for the counterattack there. This artillery still isn't there, but they're working their way in that direction. I guess we'll move these troops to the coast of Norway just to prevent an eventual enemy invasion there. And we'll end the phase. So now we need to go ahead and deploy our troops. I'm hoping we can win and end this thing soon. But we're going to go ahead and deploy 4 infantry there. We're going to deploy 2 infantry to Germany. And then we're going to deploy these armor units here to the Caucasus. 4 of them to the Caucasus, because that's the most we can do. And then 2 to Leningrad. So we should be able to sweep through into Russia. Hopefully next turn. I could attack with 6 3s, 5 2s. That already gives us 11 to 13. Plus the air units that we'll have at our disposal should give us the advantage. Now, they're probably going to build a few more units and place them. That's fine. It's just something we'll have to deal with. The main question is whether the Americans land in France or not, and what they do there. But that is it for Germany's turn, so let's move forward, and it's going to be the British turn. So Germany gained 1 new territory. The British are doing stuff. They're building destroyers. I didn't really see any changes. What did the British do? I can't even see what the British did. Oh, they took Egypt. They moved their 1 infantry into Egypt. Okay, so they did take Egypt. Egypt is not a victory location, so that's fine. Meanwhile, it's now Japan's turn. Japan, I think, should focus probably on more transports, right? So maybe 2 more transports. And then we've already got 2 here with 2 armor, 2 artillery. Okay, so that's 4 infantry, these 4. The 2 transports will give us 3. So give us room for 1 more armor. So we'll do that. And then, actually no, the better multiplier would be for 1 more artillery. Okay, so that. And then for the remaining 26, I think we'll go with 2 bomber units. Let's do that, because we're going to be on the offensive. So bombers hit harder. They defend far weaker, but since we're going to be the one dictating action, we'll probably keep them out of range of the enemy. That's okay. All right, so... Oh, they did counterattack Novorossiysk, didn't they? Maybe they didn't. I don't remember. Let's go ahead and hit the enemy with 4 fighters here. Then we'll roll 1 armored unit here and an infantry unit. All right. I think we've got a window of about 1 till these extra reinforcements arrive. So we're going to take this base. We're also going to go ahead and move forward here. Take South Africa. That's worth 2. This transport is going to pick up this artillery, land it here. So we're going to try and take Africa from the British. Meanwhile, I don't think I've got the strength to knock out the Americans. Oh, they have 4 ships here? Jeez. Can we attack here? Alright, so we're going to bring the rest of our fleet back this way to fight a battle off the American west coast against what looks like 4 American destroyers. The alternative might have been better. Armor unit go here with 4 fighters. Be 5 3s. That would maybe help soften them up a little bit for the Germans. Let's do that. I'm going to play a risky game here, guys. I'm going to use the Japanese as cannon fodder for the Germans, and I'm going to weaken Moscow. I know I won't take it. The odds of me winning this battle are slim, but my hope is that I weaken them by a few units so that when they do reinforce whatever money they have, they don't have... They can't do that. Meanwhile, we'll attack here. Again, I'm just going to use what's left of my Japanese troops as cannon fodder, and I'm okay with that. Actually, we've got 2 bombers here in India, too, and they can hit Moscow also. So we might actually seriously weaken their defense enough so that the Germans can just roll them over when it's their turn. Let us pray that that works. Meanwhile, let's knock out Midway, because there's an American air unit there, and I don't want to let them use them. Oh, shoot. Alright, so we're landing on Midway Island. The Japanese dream of attacking Midway is underway. Why can't I bomb them? Alright, there we go. So we're landing on Midway Island this turn. We're also going to take 1 tank and 1... No. Yeah, we can only take 1 infantry. Shit. What's better, 2 2s or a 3 and a 1? I don't know. I guess we'll go with this. And then land in Alaska. We're landing in Alaska. We're landing on Midway. We're fighting the American fleet off the west coast. And we're attacking Moscow with the Japanese. We'll see how this all goes over in our next combat phase. Banzai! Thank you for the bits, J Street, once again. This is the J Street bit stream. All right, so... First things first, we'll play the Battle of Midway. Because for whatever reason, the game all of a sudden starts like prioritizing the order in which you do things, which I don't quite understand, but okay. Better question is, what's better to lose, a 1 or a 2? Obviously a 1. All right, so... Oh, shit. Oh, wait, they have yeah, I knew they had a fighter here. Okay, so we got 1 hit on the American ground unit here with our attacking amphibious. And now we've got the bomber of 4 or less, and he knocks it out. So Midway will be ours. It's just a question of whether we lose a bomber or not. All right, so their first unit missed. Their second unit hit. We'll take the loss in the infantry, and we will take Midway Island. A fighter and an infantry on their end, an infantry on our end. A victory for the Japanese. All right, 3-13 in terms of income lost. Now we'll fight the Battle of Alaska. This one is a little bit less clear in terms of odds on our side. Amphibious assault here in Alaska. Your army is attacking with 2 2s against 1 enemy 2. The advantage is to us, but with numbers that small, it's only so slight. Nonetheless, we win. And they do no damage. So our force successfully lands, and with 2 2s on the defensive, and the only thing the Allies have in Canada being an infantry unit, it's unlikely that they will counterattack us successfully this first turn until they can get more troops up there. Now we've got the naval battle off the coast of the Americas, 4 American destroyers against the bulk of the Japanese fleet. This should definitely only go one way. It's just a matter of how much it costs us. We've got 2 aircraft carriers firing. They do nothing. That's fine. 3 destroyers firing. We got 1 hit there. Now we got our 5 3s and our fighters and battleships. And there, the Americans are finished off. So all 4 American destroyers are hit and destroyed. It's just a question of whether they get more than 2 hits. If they don't get more than 2 hits, they can't win because their battleships can each take 1. They roll nothing. And we get 4 free American destroyers obliterated. 32 IPCs without loss. Now, my main question is whether the Americans pull these troops out of Canada to land in Europe, or whether they think, oh, maybe we should just, send some troops to the Pacific because we can't win there. All right, so we've got 2 more battles to fight. We've got the one here in northern Russia. This is, again, more about bleeding the Russians than it is actually winning. 2 2s versus a 1 and a... Oh, my goodness! Good job, infantry. Banzai charged that. He got a 1. And we got a 3. All right, do they get 2 hits or not? They get 1. but not 2. So we just took that base. There you go. We took the base. We knocked out 2 Soviet infantry units. Japanese, good start there in northern Russia. I think we are playing with classic rules, Robo. The only thing I think is we can't pick the enemy units destroyed. I know there's a few moderations, but I think this is more or less historical rules. So look at that. The Soviet Union split nearly along the Urals here between the Japanese and the Germans. I don't think there's any way the Soviets are saved. Again, it's just a question of whether the Allies can land in Western Europe and take one of those victory cities away. All right, so your army is attacking Russia. Oh, okay. Well, this is... So, Robo, this is the 1942 version of Axis and Allies. So I think you're talking the 1941 version, which did not have artillery. You're correct. I had the 1941 version, which had no artillery. I also had the physical board game of Axis and Allies Europe, which was actually my favorite of the games. So 13 2s versus our 5 3s and 2 4s. That's a pretty solid roll there. We got 3 hits in on them. We'll get our 4s to roll. We get 2 more hits on them. So a big chunk of the Soviet infantry is gone. They did manage 4 hits, though, so that's where the pain comes. Take 1 on the tanks, and we'll take 3 fighters. I'm going to press the attack, though. Even though we can't take the city, we can do more damage, which will mean the Soviets have to use more of their points up just to replace their losses without actually strengthening their position. So 1 more unit destroyed. They knock out 2 more, so we'll take these 2. I know from an IPC perspective, this is, I'm losing worse and worse as the battle goes on, but again, the fewer units the Soviets... Oh, God, he's so dead. All right. Nonetheless, they're down to 6 units here in Moscow, and that should make things easier for the Germans when it comes around. Again, they'll get 1 more chance to reinforce before then. But I'm okay with that negative trade. In this one case, it makes sense. Even with the 76 IPCs lost, if you actually include the American naval units and the land units that the Japanese destroyed in the Pacific, the Allies still it was basically an even split in terms of hit points. So non-combatant moves. The only thing that I kind of regret is that now makes it theoretically easier for the Soviets to counterattack the Caucasus, but I doubt they would do that. All right, so non-combatant moves. These guys will move here. I think that transport already moved. This bomber needs to land somewhere. We'll land it at Iwo. Midway fell. Maybe we'll go for the Hawaiian Islands next turn. All right, so these transports succeeded. Western Canada can be attacked next turn, potentially successfully as well. Yeah, I mean, we could take Mexico, too. That's an option. I think Mexico is unoccupied. Okay, so that's going to do it for the non-combatant moves. We'll go ahead and deploy our troops. So we're going to deploy our bombers. We're going to deploy our bombers to India because they can hit Moscow from there. So if we need to do the same thing we did last turn and just have some sacrificial lambs out there, we can do it. 2 transports off the coast of Japan, and then obviously the artillery. And that's going to do it for Japan. So now we'll see what the Americans do. Japan gains 5 new territories. Alaska's worth 2, really. So the Americans are going to land in Norway. Oh, they landed in Norway and Finland. Wow. Looks like I already know the result is successful Allied attack because everything turned green. Norway and Finland aren't victory zones, though, so that's fine. I guess the real concern is that now they can counterattack into the rear toward Leningrad, which is a victory zone. So we might end up taking Moscow and still not end up winning. Although maybe we will. They didn't actually take Norway. They took Finland. So it's unlikely that they could dislodge us in Karelia just yet. They need more troops for that, which I don't think they can get there this next turn. So we've got a window of 1 turn by the looks of it. We're going to go with, I think, mostly air units. We'll do 2 fighters, 2 bombers, And we're going to go with 4 infantry, strictly on the defensive mindset. Okay, go to next phase. Combat move. We'll see if we can take Moscow. It's going to be 9 enemy units. We're going to have 3 infantry attacking out of Western Russia. 2 artillery. We're going to have 2 bombers. 3 bombers. A fighter. Another fighter. Another fighter. 4 tanks. I mean, theoretically, we could lose this. I mean, if I really wanted to be sure, I could pull these troops out of Leningrad, but again, I want to make sure we don't lose Leningrad. We certainly could lose. I think if we lost, I'd be pretty pissed. That would be pretty bullshit, right? But yeah, so we're gonna fight that battle. I think that's the only battle. I don't want to lose Finland because I have to hold the base till the end of the turn to win. So we're gonna go with what we've got. Let's go ahead and see what happens here. Let's see the battle for Moscow. The second battle for Moscow. Charcoal. Finland rises. I hope not. All right, so this could do it, folks. The final battle for Moscow, hopefully the second battle for Moscow. 9 Soviet units at 2 or less. We have 1 at 1, 2 at 2, or sorry, 4 at 2, 7 at 3, 3 at 4. So hopefully we can succeed there. I see a couple 2s there. That's good. A good start there by those rolls. 50% hit rates out of those guys. Now the 7 3s. Looks like we've got 2 more hits. So the Soviet infantry is gone. They're down to their 5 artillery. They're going to survive at least through the first round. And our bombers really weren't all that impressive. So they're going to survive. It's just a question of how much damage they do here. They only got 2 hits. Okay, I can live with that. I can live with 2 hits. I can absorb that. I think the fact that they only got 2 hits and we got 5 probably doomed them for sure. I mean, obviously, crazy shit happens, but we should knock them out this roll. 1 down with the 3 2s. Woo! That's a good roll with the 3s there. Knocked them out. The Soviets have lost Moscow. They'll counter roll. They'll do no damage. That's an unlucky counter. And Moscow falls. A victory for the Germans. 6 IPCs lost for the Germans. 33 for the Soviet defenders. 2 infantry units. And now it's just a matter of, all right, so now that we successfully took that base, let's go ahead and land our fighters in Karelia, because that is an objective city. I guess theoretically these guys need to land somewhere else, so we'll land them here. These bombers will land in Germany. One of them anyway. I'd rather the bombers land in Germany for the most part. Non-combatant moves will move this artillery up here to Leningrad. I don't think they can land anywhere that's actually going to hurt us. I guess we'll reinforce northwestern Europe slightly with a couple of infantry units there on the defense, or for defending against a landing. We'll end that phase. Now we've got to place our new units, which I think are all air units, but the good thing is the fighters defend... Oh, no, I've got 4 infantry, too. So the fighters defend at 4, so that's good. Place these bombers here where they can hopefully hit the Allied navies. One more fighter. All right, so that on the German term. 1 more territory, a lot more national production. Capital city captured. I think that means the Russians can't buy any new units. Your team is about to win. Hold your current victory cities until the end of the round. Okay. So the British did nothing. Or they couldn't do anything. They did retake Transjordan. Okay. That's fine. We're going to take Anglo-Egyptian Sudan, and we'll take the Belgian Congo this next turn. In terms of what the Japanese need, it's probably just mostly transports in the event that we're actually going to have to invade the U.S., although that doesn't seem likely. Okay, probably also some naval assets, maybe another battleship. So we'll do that. Next phase, what do we want the Japanese to do here? Well, let's see. I guess we'll attack the final Soviet unit. This is the final stand of the Soviet army. All right. Meanwhile, these Japanese bombers will go after the Transjordan troops. Obliterate them. They won't actually take the province, but they'll at least obliterate them. Obliterated! Japanese artillery should take those bases in Africa. The Japanese are going to land in Mexico. We're going to land troops in Mexico. We'll take that. It'll at least divert American attention elsewhere. Meanwhile, this transport will load up 1 artillery and 1 infantry. Can it actually move anywhere, though? Doesn't look like it. So this guy will do the same. And that's preparing for the eventual invasion of the American West Coast, which I don't think we'll get to do, but... So I think that probably about does it for the Japanese turn. I don't think there's anything else we can do right now. Or at least for the combat phase. So we took those bases in Africa. Africa is going to be Japanese. We'll go ahead and bomb these troops in Transjordan. Go for a Hawaiian vacation. You know, that does sound nice right about now. All right, so the British infantry there is dead, and they failed to do anything to the bombers. So too bad, so sad, you guys die. All right, so the one thing is the way that Moscow battle went and the fact that there's no relieving troops anywhere around kind of does make the rest of the turn anticlimactic. But it is what it is. All right, success. The infantry didn't even need the help of the artillery or the tanks. The Soviets do get one final unit that they kill as Mother Russia falls to the invader. And the Soviet Union is conquered. So, non-combatant moves. Basically, these guys need to land. We're actually going to land them in the north. In the event that something crazy happens, we should be able to use them against the enemy navies. So we'll do that. And then we'll also move these transports into the Central Pacific. I think we'll also have these guys load these troops. The Americans can retake Alaska. That's fine. We'll go here. And so we'll be preparing for a major invasion of the West Coast. These bombers will fly closer to Wake. And I think that'll do it. I don't think any of this matters, but hey. Right, so let's place our transports off the sea zone in Japan. Go ahead and place these artillery pieces and these infantry pieces here for the continued reinforcements and the naval units. So that's it. Now we just have to hold out against the Americans. I don't think that's a concern. What are the Americans doing? They're retaking Morocco. That's fine. I don't care. Take Morocco. We win! 9-4. War summary. All right, so a victory for the Axis in Axis and Allies. 9 victory cities for the Axis. Yours truly, 4 for the AI. The Germans held 19 territories, the Japanese 34. The Soviets were eliminated. They held 0 territories. They have 3 attack power left, I guess. They've got 1 fighter unit somewhere else. The British have 14 territories. The Americans 13. 39, 47, 21, 39 in terms of attack power, or 39, 47 for the Americans and British attack power. So the total final ending military strength of the Allies at the end of the war is 89. The total Axis powers, the Japanese almost have 89 by themselves. They have 87. The Germans have 79. National production, 56 to 52. Russians have 0. British, 21. Americans, 39. So that's a total of 60 versus 108. Total IPCs on hand, that's a total of 123, if my math is right, versus 85. big time victory for the Axis. Easy victory for the Axis. Not even close. Didn't even take that many rounds, if I think about it. But that was a fun little game of Axis and Allies. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream as well. And I think that's going to do it for tonight. John Kaminsky, thanks for the follow. I see that you followed there. For whatever reason, I had my notifications turned off, so I didn't catch that. And thank you to everybody else who continues to support the channel, continues to come out. I hope you guys enjoy this. For all those watching on YouTube, I hope that you let me know your thoughts. Is this something you enjoyed? Would you like to see more board game conversions like this covered on the channel or not? Yeah, that's going to do it. Axis victory in this game, in Axis and Allies, just like we won in Strategic Command. But until next time, this is the Historical Gamer, as always, saying thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm out.